The following video contains an opinion that might differ than yours. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, sister girl on films, you don't wanna miss a thing, better stay tuned in. So lay back, get into the vibe, in the mood. Real reviews from a sister's point of view. Trailer reactions, movies and TV, so entertaining and authentic, believe me. So roll that footage, I'm ready to chill. Time to hang out with my sister girl. Hey, sister girl on films. Hey, sister girl on films. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Sister Girl on Films. And y'all, I don't know why doing this review has been such a task this week, but it has. If you saw my YouTube short that I did, I talked about how I had already done this review. And then when I went to send the file to my phone, because I edit on my phone, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I was like, what the heck? I have been having issues with my camera while I was recording it. So I was very frustrated that I did not have the file. However, like later on that night, I found the file and I was like, oh my gosh, it actually recorded. So I started editing that video. And then as I was editing it, there were so many things that I forgot to talk about, things that I liked about the movie and explanations for stuff that I was just like, you know what, F that, I'm just gonna re-record my whole review. So that's why it's taken me so long to get this put out, because I was just like, I had so much more stuff to say about this movie. So as you can tell by the title, I am talking about Candyman, the direct sequel to the 1992 original Candyman of the same title. So if you're interested in my thoughts on this movie, just stay right there. We're gonna get right into this review. So this version of Candyman stars Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. He's so gorgeous. I'm not gonna harp on that for too long. I just want to take a moment, just a moment, to honor this beautiful black man, because he is fine. Okay, moment has passed. Okay, so Yahya plays Anthony, who is an artist that has kind of hit a rough patch in his career. And so he has heard the tale of Candyman a couple of times, and he decides, you know what, I am going to do an exhibit about Candyman. So in him doing this exhibit, a lot of things start to go crazy around him, and people are starting to wonder, is the legend of Candyman actually real? I really have been going back and forth about how to do this review. I'm just going to start by saying this. I've watched a lot of reviews of this film, and I probably follow the same black content creators, black film critics that you guys follow. And across the board, I would say a majority of them were not feeling this film for whatever reason. No one was like bashing it, but people just did not like it. So I can't front y'all. I was a little nervous about doing this review because I am on the opposite end of that spectrum, because I actually love this film. I loved it. I know y'all probably gonna come for me in the comments. Please don't. If you don't agree, you know, respectfully, just let me know your thoughts. But I really, really enjoyed Candyman. So let me talk about the stuff that I really enjoyed about it. So first and foremost, the performances. I love the performances. And I feel like across the board, all of the performances were very strong. And I'm even going to challenge it and say, even the man that played this version of Candyman for the majority of the film, I liked his performance as well. A lot of people didn't like his performance. They were like, the original Candyman was more charismatic, you know. Tony Todd has that very sultry voice, and he was very like hypnotic with Helen and all of that in the original one, where this one doesn't even talk, and he's kind of like just a slasher in the mirror. But let me tell y'all, the reason why I didn't have a problem with his performance is because, for me, the way I looked at this film was that the people that Candyman decided to possess and decided to make the new Candyman, they didn't choose that. They didn't want to be Candyman. And I understand that Daniel also did not ask to be Candyman all those years ago when he was murdered. But he is currently now trying to possess people so they can continue to tell his story. So, yeah, they aren't asking for that. And they all had some sort of something in their life that caused them some sort of trauma to where Candyman, you know, attached himself to them, and they became the next generation's Candyman. And so the Candyman that we got in this one, prior to him being murdered, he didn't really talk. Like, that was the whole thing about him in the neighborhood. He didn't really talk. He already had a hook on his hand. We really don't know how we got to that progression of him getting the hook and kind of wearing the same coat, kind of having the whole same aesthetic as Candyman. But it could have easily has been he had heard the legend as well. And maybe he looked up to Candyman, or maybe Candyman had already started to get into his mind and wanted him to slowly become Candyman and things like that. We don't know. They didn't talk about it a lot. But this is why I feel like his performance was good, because he didn't come off as charming and trying to be seductive, because he didn't ask for this shit. He didn't want to be Candyman. He did not. But he was possessed by Candyman, and he was trapped pretty much in this role of being this murderous, revenge-seeking, fictional character, pretty much. So I enjoyed his performance. It didn't bother me at all. So, also rounding out the rest of the cast, we have Tiana Paris, who played Brianna, who was Anthony's girlfriend. We have Nathan Stewart Jarrett, who plays Brianna's brother. Best performance for me in the film. He was like our comedic relief, and he was so funny. He was so relatable. I feel like everybody has a Troy in their family or in their friend circle or whatever, and I just really adored him. And then we also had Coleman Domingo. I first heard of him in Black Summer 2. So I know people have seen him in other things, but that's the first place that I've seen him. But I think he's a really solid actor. And then we have Vanessa Williams reprising her role as Anthony's mother. And I just really feel like the cast was a good choice. The chemistry was really good. The acting performances were on point. For me, Yaya was able to really make me like connect with Anthony and empathize with him and root for him and really understand that he was going through some real shit, and just the trauma of having to go through this transformation that he went through in the film. And he really couldn't explain to anybody what was happening because nobody would believe him. And he was able to convey just the sadness, the frustration, the intensity. Just there are so many range of emotions that Yaya had to give us, and I feel like he did an amazing job giving those to us. I also really enjoyed the cinematography and the direction in the film. The film was shot beautifully, like the skyline shots of Chicago, the shots of the L train, just even the shots that they had of the part of Cabrini Green projects that are still standing. I don't know, it just, the way that they lit it, it kind of gave a very ominous tone to it. And there wasn't a whole lot of like vibrancy in the film. Like, it felt dark without visually being dark, if that makes sense. The opening credit scene, it was this mirror shot of the Chicago skyline. And y'all, when I tell you, I was disoriented. I was like, what am I looking at right now? And then eventually I got settled into it. My eyes got used to it. And then I was uneasy. And I was like, why am I so comfortable in this thing that is so wrong? But it is so beautiful in its wrongness. I don't know. But the shot was gorgeous. And then also the use of shadow puppets to give us the backstory of Candyman and kind of how the lore of Candyman has shifted over the generations to where now Helen was the villain and not Candyman. First of all, I love that part of the story.
And y'all, let me clarify again. It's not that I love that Helen was turned into the villain, but I love the idea that lore changes over time and the details of the story will change once it's passed down from generation to generation.
But also, I love the use of the shadow puppets versus actual flashback scenes. I think that it gave it a very like eerie feel to it, but also it reminded me a lot of like cultures that have like oral traditions, and you'll see like almost like ancient cave drawings and things like that. it reminded me so much of that, and I was just engulfed in it and just was mesmerized by how beautiful it was. And then also in the end credits, not only was it was beautiful, y'all, okay? The end credits went through and showed like the entire like origin stories and kind of explained that there were multiple Candyman, I don't know, throughout the years. And again, they did it with the shadow puppets, and it was so beautiful. And one of the Candyman, as they were acting out the story, it's not narrated. It's just literally just the shadow puppets. There was one that was like a little boy on a bike, and immediately I said, I bet you they're going to say that's George Steiny. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure that's who it was, because he was obviously a young boy, and then he ended up in an electric chair. And there were 5 Candyman. There was the original one, and then there was another one that came. Then it was George Steiny, and then it was Candyman. That was the one pre-Anthony. Then it was Anthony. So 5 Candyman altogether. And so I'm not saying I want an origin story for all of them, but I thought that it was really powerful at the end to see the shadow puppets of all 5 Candyman, and with the original standing there. And I don't know, y'all. I just really enjoyed that end credit montage. This is another gripe that people had, but this is what I liked about it. I liked the story. I know that they were overhanded about police brutality and racism and gentrification and things like that. I get it. I liked it because they didn't try to make this Candyman just like the first one, just switching up the characters and stuff. No, this movie was about Anthony. This movie was always about Anthony and his transformation into becoming Candyman. That is what this movie was about. And I think that they did this well. If you went into the movie looking for Candyman 2.0, you're not going to get it, because that's not what they were trying to do. It's not going to be a happy ending. The first Candyman wasn't a happy ending. I didn't expect a happy ending in this film. A lot of people didn't necessarily like the ending of the film as much. I did feel like it was a bit convoluted, but at the beginning of the film, it opened up with shadow puppets showing police brutality. So it kind of came full circle. Like the film, like it or not, heavy-handed or not, that's what it was about. And this film, I think a lot of people that didn't really like it went into it expecting kind of the same tone as the original Candyman. And this one is kind of a slow burn, y'all. And it's not your typical like horror film with jump scares. And although there are a couple, but not intense. There's no jump scares. There's no things going bump in the night, furniture moving by itself. Those typical things that make people kind of jumpy and things that people like about horror films, honestly. It's like I said, it's a slow burn. It's telling a story. You're going to get, the kills. You're going to get that stuff. But more, it's about the story, like I said, of Anthony. And I think if you're going into it expecting a slasher film, if you're going into it expecting traditional horror, then you're not going to like this film. I'm just going to be honest. You are not going to like it, because it is going to be too much build up, not enough horror for you. And you're probably gonna think it's boring, quite frankly. I didn't feel that way, because I don't mind horror films like that. I really loved Hereditary. I really loved Babadook. And those are 2 films that are very much like that, where there's not a whole lot of jump scares. There are, when needed, but for the most part, it's telling a story. And then it gives you those horror elements in between. Some of the special effects did look a little cheap, look a little cartoonish at times. There was a particular shot of Candyman killing someone, and then the camera pans out and it's like in a high rise. And the way it's shot, it looks cool, but it also looks kind of not great in terms of graphics. I also really wish they had spent more time focusing on the relationship between Anthony and his mother versus some of these other side stories that were happening. I really cared more about that relationship, and I really wanted that backstory of, you know, why was their relationship so dysfunctional? What was his childhood like? You know, why did she never tell him about, well, I know why she didn't tell him about Candyman. I wouldn't tell my child either, but why was their relationship so strained? I would have loved to have seen that, and also would have gotten more screen time from Vanessa Williams, other than the side story of the art critic and the random teenage girl. I feel like they had a reason to be in the film, but I really feel like the overall reason was just to up the kills and to extend the runtime. But I think a much better story would have been a story between Anthony and his mother. Also, people had an issue with a random flashback or dream that Brianna had about her father. And I only saw this movie once, y'all, so I'm probably going to go check it out again. I'm definitely going to go check it out again. Now, somebody made a comment on somebody's video that it looked like her father was painting Candyman. And so I didn't notice that, you know, because when you're watching something the first time, you don't really know what to pay attention to. But next time I go, I'm going to check it out and see if that holds up, if that's true. Because if that is the case, then obviously the reason why they did that flashback was because Brianna's father was also being groomed, I guess you want to say, by Candyman to become a Candyman. And I think it drove him mad, and that's why he jumped out of the window. And if that is the case, then I think that it connects to the whole movie, obviously, because he was possibly going to be a Candyman, but also it explains why Brianna was so attracted to Anthony and him being an artist, and then her also being so angry and so adamant about this whole idea of Candyman not being real, because it was something that drove her father to the point of wanting to take his own life. That's my opinion. Like I said, I'm gonna go check it out again to see if that's actually what he was doing, and if so, then I'm just gonna like this movie even more, okay? And then the last thing I'm gonna say is that if you are a person that has trypophobia, I think, or trypophobia, where it is a fear of holes, the last 10 to 15 minutes of this film is going to be hard for you to watch, because the graphics that they use on Anthony's body as he's coming to his final form of Candyman, they look like honeycombs all over his body. I'm not gonna give you the description of it, but you can imagine, if you have a fear of holes, what his body may have looked like. And then just the body horror in it, it can be a lot. It didn't bother me as much because I had to keep reminding myself that this is fake. It's just prosthetics, it's not real, but it will turn your stomach just a little bit. But overall, y'all, I really enjoyed this film. So let me know in the comments below if you checked out Candyman, what you thought about it. If you didn't like it, let me know why you didn't like it. If you did like it, let me know why you liked it. And as always, y'all, like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel. And I'm going to see y'all next time for something else. Thank y'all so much for your patience. And shout out to all of my new subscribers. Thank you. I'm gonna try to be consistent. I'm doing pretty good, and I'm gonna try to keep it up. So I'm gonna see y'all next time for something else. Holla.